All right, welcome in everybody here to the Flagship Football Show. Thank you for joining us. We are brought to you by the Rebel Walk, where we're positively Ole Miss. I'm Jake Evans alongside Land Teller here. Michael Spears is missing in action again this week. He got held up with some baseball duties. Now that UCF is in town, he has been called into action, and we've been on standby here for a little while waiting on him. But as I said, duty calls. We'll be getting him back next week. So yeah, just Jake Evans and Land Teller here today. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, please drop a 5-star review for us and show your support. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the Rebel Walk channel. And then while you're at it, follow us and the Rebel Walk on Twitter and Facebook to stay up to date on all your Ole Miss news. We also want to give a shout out to Mark Rogers, the voice of college football. Check Mark out on Twitter and YouTube to get all of your college football news in one place. But yeah, big week for the Rebels. So Ole Miss opened the season at, I believe, number 6 in baseball. Was that correct?
With D1, which I go by D1.
Yeah,
that's kind of the one.
That seems to be
the 8 people.
Right. That seems to be the most consistent, most trusted, back and forth. And so Ole Miss opened the season at number 6. Just like that, number 1. The Rebels are the number 1 team in all of college baseball, which still I haven't wrapped my head around it.
It's pretty bizarre. I will say.
I texted y'all the other morning. I woke up at about 6 o'clock, and I was just laying in bed, and I was like, we're the best team in college baseball. Like, yeah. I couldn't go back to sleep. I was like, there's no one that's better than us. And we are theoretically better than everyone. Like, no, that's crazy.
That's what that.
Like, that. When has that ever happened? I mean, the Rebels. The Rebels went 3-0. Obviously, they're number 1 now. We went 3-0. We had a win first over number 10 TCU 7-3, then number 3 Texas Tech 5-4, and number 9 Texas 8-1. So we sweep the Texas teams. Arkansas and Mississippi State both also put together fantastic weekends. Overall, the SEC finishes 8-1 that weekend. The real loser was not the Big 12, though. It was Flow Sports.
It was.
Flow Sports got absolutely torched.
Yeah, Big 12's close, though.
Big 12 is a close second.
It's tough to have 3 teams, and they go, 1-8?
1-8, yeah.
And all 3 of them are top 10 teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You play a baseball game, you run into a good pitcher. You can have good pitchers that play at – you have good pitchers that play at every level of college baseball. Yeah. You have good hitters that play at every level of college baseball. And that's one of the things that I actually like about seeing some of these midweek games is that there's usually at least one guy on these teams that's actually a really damn good baseball player.
Well, But I think what's so interesting to your point about baseball is, like, it's probably the only sport where athleticism doesn't really matter. Like, they're all the athletes are pretty much the same. It's not like, it's not like football where, Alabama's just got better athletes.
Right.
Or in basketball, Duke's just got better athletes.
The difference,
it's just skill sets.
The difference is the big differences you'll see on a baseball field between a team like Arkansas State and a team like Ole Miss are, I mean, obviously you're probably going to have a lower quality of offense. Yeah. That's going to be like the biggest glaring one. But as far as the defense, Arkansas State's center fielder might be as fast as ours. Their shortstop might have as much range left and right as ours does. Their first baseman might be as flexible and
their pitcher can maybe throw it as fast as our guy.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the numbers match up. It just comes down to we can do it over and over and over again.
Yeah. It's not as better players.
It's not as lucky.
An athletic thing,
right? I mean, like for example, Ole Miss and Alabama in football this year. Alabama, top to bottom, 1,000 times better than Ole Miss
athletically. Yeah.
If they play that game 10 times, I doubt Ole Miss comes that close again. I really do.
I agree. No, I agree.
I think there's maybe a scenario in which they win, but if you play that game 10 times, that was like one of those games where it was on. And sometimes in baseball, you're just on, and the whole team is slumping. Ole Miss is number 1 in the country, but we just can't hit the ball that.
Yeah,
and Arkansas State will come beat us 5-0.
Yeah, and that's what happened. I mean, last night, the first couple innings. We weren't hitting well. We were getting contact, but it was a lot of pop-ups and stuff like that. And eventually, the bats started getting hot. And that's the thing about hitting is it comes and goes. Mm-hmm. That's what's so interesting about baseball. And I think that's why losses don't matter as much as they do in other sports. Is because, like, it's so game to game. Because, like, you could be the best team in the nation like Ole Miss is and be so good at hitting the ball. And you just, for some reason, in that game, you're just not doing it.
All right, so Jake Evans, Land Teller, Michael Spears here for the Flagship Football Show. We thank you to the Rebel Walk for doing what they do, and we'll be back next week.